Judge Alex Ferrer, former Miami-Dade County Circuit Court judge. I will not refer to your gender. We'll keep that out of this. But we will. We do want to talk about immigration status. Does it matter? Is it relevant in this case?
It is and it isn't. It's not relevant as to whether he should be convicted or not. The lawyer's right about that. Whether or not he committed this horrible crime is to be determined based on the evidence they have, not whether he was born in Guatemala or the U.S., not whether he's here legally or illegally. Sure. That part is completely irrelevant. To that extent, he's right. However, on the discussion outside the courtroom, of course it's relevant. People are having political discussions about whether or not there's a problem with immigrant crime and things like that. Frankly, I believe that immigrants don't commit any more crime than anybody else, and I think most immigrants who come here are law-abiding citizens who won't commit any other crime other than the crime of having been here illegally. But there are people who say, well, that's a small comfort for the person who's a victim of an immigrant, sure, because they wouldn't have been victimized had our laws been upheld. Right. That is a discussion that is a relevant discussion. But as like any other criminal defense attorney, you know, he needs to shift the focus away from his client.
We were talking about that on the commercial break. That's a really tough job to have. Someone has to do it. Someone has to defend these people that are being charged for horrific acts, and he's having to do that. But maybe he's focusing on the wrong things as he's talking about it.
I mean, you'll see it in every case. You know, his client is the bad guy because he's accused of a horrible crime. And as a defense attorney, you try to shift the focus to another bad guy, either to the cops who are either racist or did a horrible job, or to Donald Trump for his vitriol and all that, which has nothing to do. His client's not being maligned because Donald Trump created the vitriol. His client is being maligned because he's accused of a horrible crime. Now, if he didn't do it, he didn't do it. And he's, I guess, as a good defense attorney, he's trying to make sure that the jury pool isn't poisoned.
Yeah, Donald Trump is not your winning argument in this case.
No,
we also heard from the defense attorney saying, you know, they don't like to do these television appearances. We're seeing them all over TV. Does this help or hurt their case by going on TV?
I don't know that it really helps their case much, because in a case like this, people aren't going to be going, well, you know, I was really upset about the fact that he's accused of this horrible rape of a 14-year-old girl, but now that I've seen his lawyer on television, I kind of like the guy more. Yeah. That's not going to happen. But I see that they try to balance it out, because all of the publicity out there, of course, is going to be negative. So they're trying to kind of temper it, because their jury is going to come from the audience, you know, people who are watching the news and stuff like that.
So immigration status not relevant in the facts of the case, but in sentencing, you said they may be treated differently.
It can be. Well, first, it's certainly relevant for bond as to whether or not he's in a flight risk, and it can be taken into consideration at sentencing, because judges can take into consideration pretty much almost anything when it comes to sentencing. So, but as far as conviction, what you don't want is a jury to find him guilty because he's an illegal immigrant.
Sure.
If the evidence is there to support that he committed the crime, then they should find him guilty, regardless of whether he's an illegal immigrant or a citizen.
That's well said. Thanks for breaking this down for us.
Thank you.